Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are live now on the Pan-African Daily TV on this special Tuesday exclusive edition. I want to welcome you here today for joining tonight, and I hope you know what to do. As you join us, make sure you click the link and share with your audience. And as you can see, our today is well positioned and ready to share wonderful education, mentorship, and educate us about the need for Africans to embrace the development of the continent. And our topic for today, as you've seen, is Africans for Africa for Africans by Africans. And OUSMAN TOURAY is here live with us from the Gambia, and he's going to be sharing useful information. I mean, all of us know him. I don't even need to say anything about him. So click the link and share and invite one another to join us on this exclusive edition. I can already see we're not even up to how many seconds into the show, and I see you flooding in. We're already 40 watching from this source. And yes, I mean, that's going to be a heated moment. You know, I call him my champion. I call him my champion. And the African champion, yes, someone is saying, and he is not just your champion, he is our champion. I'm so excited. I'm very, very excited to have him live with us in studio from the Pan-African Daily TV today. It's going to be a wonderful, interactive, conversational, and educational program tonight. And as you know, ladies and gentlemen, that after his presentation and a couple of questions, we're going to open the line so you can ask direct questions to OUSMAN. And I already said it, he's going to be the future president of Gambia. And a lot of people say, why Gambia? He's going to be the president of Africa. Not just Gambia, he's going to be the president of Africa. Yes. And now we see it. We see it. He's here live and direct with us, ladies and gentlemen. So I would already allow you to just be acquainted to this young president. The president of the United Africa state that we are building today is sitting here right live and direct with you. So, you know, it's going to be an historical moment. It's going to be an historical moment because one day you're going to sit and watch and say, hey, you remember on this edition, we watched you and this was what you said. So please make sure you record the show for today. And after this, we're going to share it on our YouTube and you're going to go make it go viral because as I said, it's a prophecy. The time he's going to be the United Africa president, then you would remember this day. You will remember this period. Yes. And I can see you flooding in. We're already having more than 101 people watching in just 2-3 seconds or 3 minutes. Hey, ladies, share the link. People, share the link. Today is the moment all of us have been waiting for. You know him so well. And coincidentally today, as I was telling you guys yesterday, today is the Independence Day of the Democratic Republic of Congo. I mean, I laugh a little bit because it's like, why independence? And but very interesting on the continent today. We already saw a prominent artist celebrating in another kind of style. We're going to watch this video, not now, as the show goes on. And what was so particular today is we already informed you about the conference, Rethinking Africa, with Professor Pierre Lumumba, who gave a wonderful, moving speech at that conference today, 1 hour ago. And unfortunately, we could not stream that conference live here on the Pan-African Daily TV because they were having a lot of technical issues out there. But we are going to do a rebroadcast of that moving speech and the address PLO Professor made, maybe another day this week or during the weekend. So we're going to go back to that and we could ask questions about it. Yes, but it was a wonderful moment. And what he said is going to make you cry, but it's also going to make you rejoice and smile. And you see the reason why it is necessary for us to fight for the Africa that belongs to us. And that's why we have our guest for here tonight. OUSMAN, how are you doing?
Hey, Susan, I'm okay. I'm doing good. I'm so glad to be here.
Yeah, thank you for being with us today. Thank you. It's a wonderful moment. How is Gambia doing today?
Yeah, we find it's a bit hot today, but yeah, it's actually beautiful, and I was at work in the morning, so it's definitely nice. Things are going fine with us.
Okay, I think you have to speak a little bit louder. The energy that you
Uh,
poured out in that, the energy that you poured out in your viral video, I know you're still trying to warm up. I understand. Yes, it's okay
yeah,
now. Yeah,
yeah,
it's okay. Mhm. Yeah,
yeah.
so
So
over to you.
yeah, thank you so much for having me. So I look forward to having an interesting discussion today. I also look forward to learning from various individuals from across the globe. And as long as the topic is concerned, we're talking about, yeah, Africa and for Africans by Africans. So I am so glad to give my view as to what I think we need to do as a people and we need to do as a continent.
Yes, correct. And particularly, we're talking about a country like Congo that is having independence today. And
Mhm.
like I said, we'll watch this short video of this young gentleman, this artist that has demonstrated his own kind of celebration to the world. And after this video, we're going to come back and get back on the discussion of today. Ladies and gentlemen, join me today and let us watch this moving moment. Yes, we are back live in the studio, and this is how the young people on the continent are celebrating the Independence Day of the Democratic Republic of Congo. Ladies and gentlemen, this artist is expressing, he is speaking a lot to the world. What is going on today in the Democratic Republic of Congo, which we know is one of the largest after Nigeria on the continent and the richest countries in Africa, and that has been exploited for centuries. And the situation in Congo is not getting anything better. As you can see, that artist, he was wearing an iPhone or a phone on his chest. And what does that mean to you? And that artist was walking in chains, and you could see him bleeding. You could see the blood coming out, and he painted his body with the colors of Congo today. Yes, so it is expresses the young minds of the people who are actually speaking in talking or in sharing our stories and the redemption of the continent today. Young people are rising up and they are expressing even without words. Now, what does the iPhone or the phone on his chest actually represent to the entire continent that is bleeding because of the resources that are being peeled up by the West in the Democratic Republic of Congo? And exactly today, that was the topic that Professor Pielo Lumumba was talking about. 60 years after the independence of Congo, what is left in that continent today? We see that all our handies that we're using, mobile devices, is being at the expense of the people of the continent of Africa, particularly Congo, because what is killing people there every day and keeping the Europeans there is a substance called coltan. And coltan is a valuable substance that is used on all our handies, on our phones and our devices. And this mineral is only found under the soils of the Democratic Republic of Congo. And today you see how women are being raped, young children are being killed. Congolese are all leaving the countries. Young people like OUSMAN, they're relocating. They're filling the streets out there in Belgium because of this kind of exploitation. So I wanted us to share this moment with the people of Congo to tell them they are not alone. The continent is behind them, and the time of liberation is now. The time of redemption of Africa is now. And so the people of Congo, we share with you your pains. We share with you your past, your history, and even the present that is still today. But we want to guarantee you, if you see Ousmane sitting here today, it means the young people have understood the game or the colonial agenda on the continent, and they are taking responsibility. They are refusing this kind of attitude to say that despite our plight on the continent, we are going to stay and develop Africa. Over to you, Ousmane. Ousmane, you made an incredible video that went viral worldwide, and young people are so excited. They're looking forward to listen to you today. And in the video that you made, I want us to watch it first. For those that are joining us on the stream for the first time that have not seen this famous video of Ousmane TOURAY, for you to be able to identify the king that is sitting here and relate him to this video, and then let the conversation begin. Watch this incredible video from Ousmane TOURAY, and we'll be right back.
As Gambians, like, we interact with one another, we live with one another. It doesn't matter how big the family is. We share everything, no matter how little it is, and people are content with that. That even if things are going hard, you can still observe smiling faces under each and every person that you meet along the street. So that is a plus for everybody in the Gambia, and that is why I'm a proud Gambian and a proud African, and I believe I can make it, and I'm going nowhere but in the Gambia. Nobody's going to do it for us.
That's right.
If we are all running away, you know, when are we gonna make it? We have to stay in Africa, develop in Africa, and then show to the world that Africa have a better image than the one they portray in the West. I think this is what we all need to do as Africans, and then we promote that as Pan-Africans and also as Gambians.
Excellent. I couldn't have said it better myself, actually. You know, I propose that you come and do some shows with me. This brother's got it going on. Yeah. But seriously, you know, I think that the misrepresentation of Africa has, wow, I mean, it permeated my brain, and I knew, because I was coming from a Pan-African background, but still, you know, the images are forced upon us. So I think you young Gambians have a responsibility to show the other side of Gambia, the Gambia that, you know, we diasporians and many people in the West don't see. They just don't see it.
Exactly. I think that is the work of the academics. That is the work that we need to do as young scholars. For far too long, people have been portraying Africa negatively to the outside world. And we know that that was done by individuals whose sole aim was to dominate Africa, to exploit Africa's resources, and then to continue to colonize us politically. Now, our role as academics, as young scholars, is how do we make sure that this picture is changed from the literature itself, going back to rewrite the books, to rewrite the history of Africa, and then to show to the world that we have a better image that the world is actually seeing as of today. And then you also come to realize that we need to invest in Africa, because foreign investment always leads to capital flies and etc. Because people who come in and invest, at the end they can take all the resources, and then you come to realize that it becomes another challenge for us. But when Africans invest, the money stays in Africa, which is a plus. It can enhance, it can help when it comes to employment, when it comes to, you know, coming up with all the facilities and then enhancing the development that we own, that we all desire as Africans and etc. I think that is what we need to do as we speak, and that is what we all Africans need to be thinking into that particular line, like trying to see how we can repent that particular picture shown by the outsiders about Africa, because they, in fact, let me tell you, there was this quotation that I read. It was actually done by a British parliamentarian, Lord Macaulay, in 1835. He speaks about Africa, and then he said, in order for the West to dominate Africa, they need to overthrow our very backbone, and that is our education system. When we believe that everything that is Western is correct, then they can dominate us forever.
Exactly.
And that is 1835. They've been working on those bases. So today it is high time, because we know the realities. Let us try to rewrite the history. Let us try to work again and attract investment in Africa by Africans.
Askanu Sénégal ak bitim réew.
Yes, of course, this is where we are today, and we are watching Ousmane TOURAY live with us in the studio today, ladies and gentlemen. This incredible speech is what I've never remembered any African president or any leader of Africa made such a speech. Not even the leaders of today have made a speech that has inculcated all the facets, from history to colonization to investment to culture to education to the standard of living to the future. Everything that Africa needs at this moment is embodied in the speech of Ousmane TOURAY. Ousmane, how did you come to this? From the video, you didn't even prepare this interview. They just met you in a restaurant and you just came out and you spoke like this. Where is this coming from?
Yeah, thank you so much, Susan. As I said, I met this wonderful lady. She's doing a very, very good job in the Gambia, because I am a subscriber to her YouTube channel. So while at home, sometimes I will go on YouTube looking at the videos that she has been uploading about the beautiful nature of the Gambia. So what happened is, I was in one of the hotels around Senegambia, and I saw her, and then I said to my friend that I recognize this lady, because she's doing a great job and portraying a very good picture about Africa and about the Gambia. So that is how I went to her, and then I said, "Hi, I recognize you." And she said, "Wow." And I said to her that I'm a subscriber to your YouTube channel and you're doing a good job. So she said to me that you cannot go without having an interview with me. So then I said, why not? Then let us give it a shot. So that is how this interview come about. And she is Juliet, and her YouTube channel is Black Seed. So she normally upload beautiful things about the Gambia, encouraging people in the diaspora, our brothers and sisters, to come back to Africa, work with Africans, and then try to invest in Africa, because that is the future. So,
Ousmane, who are you? Just tell us
well,
about you a little bit, because this is, yeah, go ahead.
yeah, Usman is a young Gambian, and I came from provincial Gambia. That's where I attended my primary and junior school, and then moved to the Combos, that is in West Coast, where I did my senior school and finished high school in 2016, then proceed to the University of the Gambia in the same year, and graduated in December 2019. So while at the university, I was reading development studies, and development is a whole diverse course where you look into a lot of issues like political, social, and economic. Because the question that we normally have is that how do we make sure that we have that economic growth at the same time with a good human development, whereby we channel our economic growth into things that will make betterment for our society, and then how do we make sure that we promote that social cohesion and tolerance in the society at large. So that is it. And then for the spirit of pan-africanism and believing that once one can do it in Africa, that you don't have to, not it doesn't mean that we are an island as Africa, but it just means that if you focus and then you give it all you can also make it out here in Africa. So Pan-Africanism is something that I have been reading a lot. I read materials from Garvey, from the pioneers, people like John Henry Clark, and others, like reading a lot of issues and reading a lot of arguments about the betterment of Africa, and how our colonizers have been using education as a tool to continue to dominate us. So looking at this complexity in the education system, one will come to realize that In order for us to decolonize Africa, we must do away with the old curriculum, which was designed purposely for domination by the colonial masters.
Correct, correct. And like you are saying, we also know, you talked about it, you said this is the time for academics and young scholars to rewrite the history. And so you're talking particularly about this curriculum. How do you think that could function?
Yes, saying that we need to rewrite the history, these are just not, things that I champion. This has always been at the center of Pan-Africanism and Pan-African debate. Ever since we knew, and this was the very reason why people like Garvey, people like Dubois, and Kwame Nkrumah and others all stood for their people, because they know that in one way or the other, our history have been, toxicated by individuals who hijack the reality of our civilization and then introduce a system that was never in our interest. So basically, you come to realize that they introduce an education system for us with a form of a history that we read, and this we do it at a very young age, telling us that the culture that we have, the history that we have, is not in line with modern civilization. So we needed to embrace a new civilization, a new history, as if the black man has no history. So that is why I challenge all young scholars in Africa and in the diaspora, as long as they have Africa in them, that we need to put hands on decks to make sure that we rewrite the history of Africa. And we can do that by depending on the great scholars who have been advocating for Pan-Africanism and the literatures that they left behind, and to expand on those bases, making sure that we have those books in our schooling system, and children have the opportunity to read and understand the real history of the African continent, and not just to rely on books written by foreigners whose main objective is to make sure that we forget that particular history that we have, that particular civilization that we have, and that particular culture that we have. And that was exactly one of the reasons why I mentioned that quote by Lord Macaulay, because in his address to the British Parliament, he made it categorically clear that Africa is a rich continent, that Africa has a history, it has a culture, and there are good people that that in order for the Western world to dominate this society, they need to overthrow our very backbone, and that is our education system. And that is 1835. You come to realize that from 1835, they had this in the British Parliament as an agenda to overthrow our very backbone, which is the culture of the African, the history of the African, the education system that an African child was given at the time. And if all these issues have been erased from the African continent, then the white will have the opportunity to dominate Africa forever. And that is how they introduce their education system to us. Now that you travel across Africa, you come to realize that people at my age can have the same opportunity to go to school, spend 12 years in school, and yet will not have a single skill. They cannot create job, and they will not be able to earn job. All what we can do is to wait for a government to do something on our own or for us. It doesn't work like that. The education system should be programmed in a way that it makes people job creators and not job seekers. That is exactly what I'm trying to say. That we need to understand the history of the continent, we need to understand the history of the African, and we need to revisit our education system to make it fit for purpose. And that is an education system that will be able to answer fundamental questions on societal problems and coming out with solutions to some of those issues.
When you look at the young people today, I mean, we're talking about on the continent, and you see the outgoing, like they flee the continent, and most of them dying in the Mediterranean, like you see. what do you see? It's not just even the impact, like you said, the symptoms of this educational system that has made us to depend on jobs, and so they have to look, they have to go out of the continent in seeking for greener pastures. What is that for the continent? That's a loss.
Yes, and we need to understand that Africa is very rich, and this is exactly what Nkrumah said in 1963 at Addis Ababa, that Africa as a continent is rich, but its people are poor. And why is that? Because there is a system that is programmed to exploit these resources at the expense of the very people who live within this continent. Now, looking at the African youth moving to the West through the Mediterranean Sea, others using many other forms, you come to realize that that is happening because the education system, one that we have in place, and the mainstream media, the way in which the West is portrayed in Africa, because that is why I said us as youths have a responsibility. And in order for us to know about Africa, we must not learn Africa from the mainstream media.
Correct.
The way they portray the images in Africa is biased, and the way they portray the images in the West is not true. They will never show you the millions of people that are homeless in the West. They don't have interest in that. But how will they make sure that they bring in people, giving them pictures of issues that are not even in reality, and then tapping them to the outside world? Now, these resources that Africa should have depend, and that is the youth, of course, because the most instrumental means or the most important resource of any country is the people, and particularly the youth. So
Correct.
if the African continent can well equip its youths to capacitize them to make sure that they can have paid jobs within the continent, to make sure that they can have a decent environment, they don't need to travel outside. And if that is so, you come to realize that the youth or this active population will be able to protect the young, that is the children of Africa, and as well as the old.
Correct.
But if this is not put in place, you come to realize that our very opportunity that we have, and that is the youthful population in Africa, now we are losing them in the Mediterranean Sea. It is not just to see an African or to see Africans dying in the Mediterranean Sea. And also, the world need to look into this. Why is it that people have to die at the Mediterranean Sea? That is a big question for all of us to answer. The whole world have been watching this happening for so many years. And what is the solution to that problem? So African has responsibilities, but as well as the Western world, they also have a responsibility. Let us be realistic in our approaches. People are not dying just because boats are capsizing, but there are so many issues that are associated with it. So the first thing that we need to do as African is building the connection that we want. This continent have to understand that we have to stay focused, we have to stay connected, work together as Africans, and to understand that the development of this continent lies in the hands of the Africans and not in the hands of foreigners.
Wow. You talked about investing in Africa. The money has to stay on the continent, and we see that money can either be in form of resources, it can also be in form of the brain drain, that the young people relocating from the continent is already a GPD, is already a source of income for the continent, and then talk less of the debt in the Mediterranean Ocean. And yes, do you think that how do I want to put it? Do you think that it is because of the ignorance? Because I realized that you were even given a scholarship to study out of Africa, and you said no, you wanted to study or to study the Rwanda model. What does the Rwanda model signify to you?
Yeah. Now looking at this, I had option, that is to choose to study in the United States, Canada, or in London. So I toned it down because what I saw and what I really want is not in those countries. What I want is in Rwanda. And that is a transformation that is going on. What Africa needs now is a transformation.
Mhm.
My degree will not benefit me if I did it in Canada. No. What I want to see, because academics is not just in the classroom, academics is about the society as well in which you evolve from, because that is what intellectuality entails. You must be able to critically understand the society in which you are, your environment, and how to critically understand the solution to those societal problems. Looking at what is going on in Rwanda, they had a genocide. They recovered from the genocide. I mean, like they were able to establish justice commission. They were able to establish the rule of law. They were able to establish a good administration and then design a model of development. That is a miracle because the Western world never predicted such. So what I'm trying to say here is that when we look into places like Rwanda, we understand a transformation that is ongoing. And that transformation is what I need in the Gambia. The same transformation is what people need in Senegal. The same transformation is what people need in Sierra Leone. The same transformation is what people need in Liberia. So that is exactly what we're trying to say, that Africa need an African model. And for us to have an African model, we must not just be borrowing from Eurocentric models or American models. No, we have to look into what is working on in African countries because the realities are similar. If you go to Rwanda today, you see the same people as if you walk into the Gambia. So that is exactly what I'm trying to say, that we need to understand the continent. We need to travel across the continent. Our education system has to be in line to make sure that we have that quality education, that free flow of ideas from one country to another within the African continent to make sure that we can have that African agenda, and then we push it to 2063 as they have it in the documents. But if we are not trying to do this, if we are not trying to see what works in different African countries and then to transform it in other parts of Africa, we will meet in 2063 again and explain to our own young generation why Agenda 2063 could not be achieved. Yeah.
Correct. You talked about the negative images of Africa in the West, and exactly that's what we're experiencing. Like it was designed that the educational system and the curriculum taught Africans only to graduate and go back to the systems that brought the education. For instance, I remember most of us, we've never done African history on the curriculum, like you're saying. If we did slavery, colonization, and talked about all these leaders in historical facts and even the empires that Africa had built, that would have helped a lot. But we spent time studying European history, fishing in Norway, all these kind of things that are not found on the continent. Now, today, do you have share this impression that even an African child that studies in Africa is ignorant about the continent? We're talking even about the resources.
Exactly. This is exactly what is going on. That you see somebody that will be studying in Africa and still be ignorant about the African society. And that is what we need to, overthrow. We cannot continue to live like that. And those are some of the reasons why you see them, or why you see individuals leaving the continent to the outside world, because that is what they taught them. You're not teaching them to understand their societies. They're not teaching Africans to understand the real African problem and how to think about solution to those problems. But then, how do you, if somebody is learning about the Western culture, learning about, in fact, there's a whole of an argument about whether this culture even exists. So, but then you come to realize that that is the brain drain. They're doing it at a very, very young age, whereby people don't even have the opportunity to know about themselves. And this is exactly what John Henry Clark said, that if you want to control a people, you must control what they think about themselves, how they regard their culture and history. If your conqueror makes you ashamed of your culture and history, he needs no prison walls or chains to hold you, because you already programmed in a system where you don't even understand your own society. So that is what we need to defeat. That is what we need to do as young scholars, making sure that this curriculum that we have is tailored in a way that it is going to benefit the African continent. It is going to benefit the African child. And this, I mean, both the ones in Africa and those in the diaspora, because this affects us all. In the Western world, the same thing. An individual being an African descent and yet don't know about the African history, because that history is hijacked. So we have a chance as young Africans today. We got the information, it is out there. We know the way in which they've been portraying the Western world, and the reality of this is not true. So therefore, we need to embrace what we own and then design and set a pattern for our own development as Africans, and therefore we move the African agenda ahead.
Correct, particularly on this subject of images and education. It is so how do I say, malicious, because this political system has been, this Eurocentric system has made it in such a way that they give Africa the Western image as the paradise on earth, and then they give the Europeans the African image as the poorest and beggar continent of the world. These are two images. The same ignorance that we Africans on the continent are having about our own continent, its resources, is the same issues that the Europeans, the normal European citizens, are having also about Africa. Now, let me tell you what happened in the diaspora, particularly those of us that are involved in developmental politics or developmental education regarding Africa, or whose hearts are beating for Africa. You begin to realize that even the West are so ignorant about their own community, but they know so much about Africa in a negative way, but their own European countries, they have no idea. You ask German children or German kids or youth, who is even their president or their national anthem or their flags? A lot of them don't have an idea. But if you show them African pictures, negative pictures, poor people, begging, suffering people, they understand everything. So it is a malicious system that was really made, not even only to rip our history from us, our dignity from us, who we are, but also on the contrary, selling the opposite of who we are to their own people. It is so crazy why we see Europeans come to Africa to develop Africa. Why is the question that you see all these foreign development agencies coming always to build schools or hospitals or churches or to help? You see NGOs flooding the whole continent in the name of help, because the picture that they have about Africa is a helping continent, it's a helpless continent, it's a beggar continent. So the investors don't see it as a potential for a market to invest their capital and their money. What investors see is to invest in these poor sectors. That's why they do vaccines and bring to us. They do all sort of medications, because one of the agendas is the diseases on the continent. It's a continent of hunger. That's the first thing why they destroy our agriculture and our food, and they produce these GMOs and this genetically modified food to us. Because the first characteristics of Africa out here is hunger. The second characteristics is war and conflicts. It's a continent filled with war. Even though we have 55 countries and we have just 19 conflicts on the continent, in Europe, they know Africa is always at war. That's why its citizens are running away. Number three, Africa is a continent that is filled with poverty, abject poverty. And so all these ones are opportunities that they are selling for their own people to invest in these sectors in Africa. That's why we see, if it comes to diseases, it comes to everything, it's Africa. Vaccines, testing of everything is Africa. Because the first number one characteristics that the West know about Africa is diseases. Secondly, even education, like you're saying, why are they coming and building schools? Or they make pictures of children that cannot go to school and they begin to tell you about the potential of education. And you see, in Germany, you go to any political discourse or any conference, they're always going to tell you, no, the problem of Africa is Africa needs education. But when you ask them, what kind of education does Africa need? Has it got to do with schools? What is the kind of education? They cannot answer to you. So you see the kind of malicious system that the world has put Africa into. Make us dormant, make us rip our history from us, and then this same history, they sell it to their own people in a negative form, and we keep seeing these agendas coming. Over to you.
Exactly. So that is it. Like, you understand that the images they're portraying is one of the main reasons that is making investors to stay away from the continent. And that is why I call on Africans and African descent to invest in Africa. We cannot have individuals coming here and doing investment for us. They will never do that in the interest of the continent. Investment can only be done in the interest of the continent if it is done by Africans and by African descent. You know why? Because of the capital flight. And there are two things that we need to look into. Capital flight from our own authorities and capital flight through the private businesses. Sometimes the loans that we take, we don't need them. They trap us with interests that we will continue to pay on ending loan. You look at the private businesses. When they invest in Africa, you come to realize that at the end, they will take all the resources because they exploit us. They exploit those working under them. And at the same time, the money will not stay in the continent. And if the money doesn't stay in Africa, you know what happens? It makes it difficult for capital accommodation. People cannot have money in their hands, and at the same time, they cannot make saving. But Africans across the world need to understand that this continent can only be built by us. Before they invest in foreign lands, you die and the system takes everything from you. Why not invest it in Africa? Because these images are just created by individuals through the mainstream media. People have to travel in Africa to see the realities. People have to travel and see what is actually happening. But you cannot just sit at one place and want to learn about Africa through the mainstream media. It doesn't work like that. When we travel, we will understand and we will see the potential of investing in Africa and investing in the African youth. And then you also come to realize that we have a big role to play in a sense that when we look into the whole system within the African continent, you will come to realize that we need to invest in skills and also in decent and paid jobs, whereby African youths no longer have to be hungry of going to the Western world, because some of them are still trapped in camps. And that was not the reason why they left the continent. So those are the issues that we need to look into to make sure that we equip the African youth with the quality of education, to free them from the brain drain, and then to make sure that they have a decent and skillful works where they can earn their living within the African continent. And we can do this. We just need to work together and to bridge the disconnection that is going on in Africa. After this video of mine went viral, I received calls from all over Africa. And then sometimes when people speak native languages in Africa, I even ask them, what language is this? Are you saying that I don't understand the language, but I don't even know the name of the language itself? And that is happening due to the disconnection. That if I live in the Gambia, I have nothing to do with somebody living in Kenya. I have nothing to do with somebody living in Somalia. I have nothing to do with somebody living in Liberia. That is
Correct.
the disconnection that we need to fight as African youth. Creating networks where we can easily meet, having platforms where we can easily interact to make sure that our ideas within this continent is well understood by people living in the continent. And that is, we need to look into globalization in general. Before, we were talking about fighting colonialism. At some point, African leaders met in Addis Ababa and talked about neo-colonialism, imperialism. But do we understand what globalization today is doing to the African continent? So you come to realize that sometimes we just embrace ideologies where we have no clue about.
Correct.
Let us look into it. Today, they brought to us in the central debate at everywhere in the world, at the United Nations, EU, everywhere, they're talking about globalization, globalization. But what are we globalizing? Should our brothers and sisters die in the Mediterranean Sea if globalization is a reality? If we have international laws protecting migrants all over the world, do we need to have our brothers and sisters in refugee camps? That is not true. So they need to explain to us, what are we globalizing? I understand it in different phases. That is in ideas, in the market structure, and in the cultural side. If we want to globalize ideas, we want to have a global market where goods and services can be, trade. We want to have globalization that is in culture and etc. This is not true, and it is not in the interest of the African continent. And I am ready to stand anywhere and defend this argument that Africa is not benefiting from the globalization of ideas. What are we taking from the West, and how does that match with our realities as a continent? Let us look into the policies that we have been embracing since the end of the Second World War. After the formation of the Bretton Woods institutions, with all the promises that they told us, with all the policies that we have been embracing, starting with the structural adjustment plan, what those African countries benefit from this? With all the loans that they have been giving us as a continent, apart from trapping us under abject poverty, and we have nothing to do about it. Let us look into the market that they're telling us. Are we globalizing a market system? Is it easy for Africans to trade within the African continent? Is it easy for Africans to trade among themselves? It is even cheaper for us to trade with the Western world than trading among ourselves as a continent. Now we have free trade agreement within the African continent, and yet we have a problem of implementation. We have a problem of understanding each other's realities and a good regional integration that will enable us to have that economic development that we desire and channeling it to the interest of the general public. We are not seeing this. Let us look into the African culture. For far too long, our culture has been penetrated, it has been hijacked. They don't want to embrace it. They don't want us to know about it. Instead, we're just getting the Western culture, taking it every day, valuing it more than the African culture itself. I don't need to go to school to learn about righteousness. I don't need to be in school to learn about honesty. I don't need to be in school to learn about generosity and kind. Those are fundamental values rooted in the African culture, that it is just a matter of growing. But today we are not seeing this. Why? Because we have embraced things that are not in the interest of the African continent, that the Africans don't know. And that is exactly what the founding fathers of Pan-Africanism have been fighting for. And I always say this, if we want to fight for the African continent, if we believe in Pan-Africanism, we must have the same spirit as they did. Gavi had a spirit, and he believed in it, and he fought for it, and he died for that. The same way Nkrumah and others. So that is exactly what we need to understand and fight for this continent in the interest of the African society.
This is all of us are Africa, and your ancestors are proud of you. And the voice that we've been looking for change and the young continent is gradually speaking. Ladies and gentlemen, I already had said it on the Pan African Daily TV that it is not even the leadership that we're talking about today on the continent of Africa, because our ancestors and our philosophy would just rise up these leaders from nowhere. So most of the people we keep looking and saying these are leaders, they are not yet born. I want to open up the lines in the next couple of minutes when I give you, or when we take some other questions from you or listen to you on this topic. Now, when you look at the leadership of Africa and you see even the Agenda 2063, we have been advocating and saying that's a colonial agenda. Like you say, a lot of these regulations abroad or these constitutions and these agendas have never been implemented. So we want to understand and come out with another alternative agenda for Africa, which is exactly what you're saying, the declaration of our forefathers and the founding fathers of Pan-Africanism. Because the issue is we keep even criticizing these other agendas. We have no alternative for the African child, for the African youth to orientate it. Even the system of education, we need an alternative system. What is your take on that, Ousmane? Because after our discussion, I said, the issue is not the mainstream media like we are operating. Just come here, you lecture to us, you mentor to us. But the issue is to get a permanent organization of all these leaderships that are talking, for us to revisit this declaration and this alternative in terms of even spirituality. We need an alternative, if we have to call it Bible, but it has to be an African own. African education, African everything needs its own history, like you're saying. Do you see that like an alternative?
Yes. We need to understand that as a continent and as a people, there are so many things that are happening and we need to rethink about them. Of course, we need to have a paradigm or a system or a rule that entails the African values and the African way of life. If it is a book, we should go for it. Why not revisit the Pan-African agenda? I mean, in its reality, going to look into the issues that have been advocated for by those Africans. Put everything in document and put it in papers and make sure that we transform this in all generations.
Correct.
We teach the child the values and the principle of Kroma. We teach the child the value and the principle of Gavi. We teach the child the value and the principle of orders and orders. So that is what we need to do. But today, we don't even know them. Ask me about Nkrumah. The only thing I can tell you, yes, Ghanaian president. He took Ghana to independence. After all, why? What? And he has been fighting for the African continent. You come to countries like the Gambia, we have our own individual who stood for this country, fought for the country, at the same time fought for the African continent. But today we don't know them. We don't even have them in our curriculum. We don't learn about them in school. So that is exactly what we need to change. In order for us to have a breed of new leadership, we must revisit the history of the continent by the pioneers and those that struggle for our liberation. Their ideas, their principles, we need to learn them. We need to understand them. But if we don't do that, we'll continue to have those comparators where you have a group of elites sponsored by outsiders, trained by outsiders, and then imposed on us by outsiders, and we will not have anything to do by it. That is why I said, if we all think that leadership is the problem of Africa, because that is what you hear every day. You speak with somebody, they will tell you, our problem in Africa is not all this, it is just the leadership style. Yes, I agree. Leadership is the problem today. But how do we change it? Do we change the leadership problem by traveling to the West and stay there? No, we don't. What we really need to do is understand that as a problem and then work on the solutions. And the solution to that is equipping the youths of this generation, making sure that they understand the real value of the African continent, making sure that they understand what the continent really needs to solve its own problem. And therefore, we can do a lot of things together. But without understanding this, we cannot. And we don't solve that leadership problem by staying in the West and insulting them every day. No, they will continue to live here. They will die, their sons and daughters will take over.
Correct.
So in order for us to change it, the mindset has to change. We need to understand the African continent, and we need to work as one another to make sure that we implement the African agenda in reality.
Correct. I'll be opening the lines, ladies and gentlemen, for your questions and your impression. This is the greatest conversation amongst others that we are having here, solutions by Africans for Africans and by Africans. And as you can see, it's just the beginning. I told you, and I said it, it's so amazing how we are right now at 2,000 live viewers, and it's going to climb up to a massive number before tonight. Why am I particular about this issue? Ousman, we already had this discussion, you and I, in the background, and saying that, yes, we need these practical solutions. And the first thing that we are talking about is this education. And one thing that I want to congratulate you that you've been saying is that even us, the adults, don't even know the education to be able to teach. So it means we need to really go back to form this kind of academic structures and scholars that are only focused on the Pan-African philosophy, or the philosophy of Ubuntu, exactly like you said. We don't need to go to school to just learn kindness. We don't need to go in churches and synagogues for someone to tell us to be nice to ourselves or to love one another. We already have them deeply rooted in us. And now we're seeing that all these institutions are the institutions that are also sponsored by the Eurocentric ideas and philosophies on the continent, and that are draining our women and our children and locking them up into these societies. I'm going to open up the lines for us to take the calls and impressions and questions to you. I'm taking the first call. Hello.
Hello. Hi, Suzanne. It's Lloyd.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Fine, thank you. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I just wanted to say well done again. It's me, Lloyd, for the good work you're doing, and then bringing the people together. And then I'm sure everything in the long run, we will all unite. This is the belief, and then a great job. And then to OUSMAN, that's very, very good. A young man, we need young men like him. You know, when other young people see a young man like him with African mentality, this gives hope to everyone, to the young ones. See, so like in our country, we, as in Malawi, we just selected new government. So hopefully it will help us to improve everything that going on at the moment. So OUSMAN, well done, and then congratulations. Wishing you all the best. Keep up the good work. This is just the beginning. And then I'm very pleased. When I saw your video on Brexit, and then Susan put it up on the Facebook again, I just can't stop watching it. You know, this gives like hope.
Thank you so much.
Young people are seeing and understanding now that they don't have to cross the ocean. You know, everything we have in Africa. We have everything.
That's right.
Anything from abroad. All we need is in Africa. We just have to organize and centralize and unite, and everything will be better. Build our own Africa, the Africa we want.
Thank you, brother.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Susan, thank you so much. And
Thank you so much.
As you know, in Malawi now, everyone is so happy. You know, you can imagine. I don't know. It's just like peace just come down.
Okay.
everyone just at ease with the new president, the government. So hopefully the government also will improve life for the poor and for everyone.
Okay.
Which is what we want in Africa, to build Africa. So I don't want to take up much time. I just wanted to say thank you, Osman, and thank you to you, Susan, as well, for the good work you're doing.
Thank you so very much. Thank you so very much. Okay, we're going to take the next call.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to take the next call. Hello. Hello.
Hello, Susan Tara. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Thank you. Where are you calling from?
From Nairobi, Kenya. This is Josephat.
Okay. Okay. Welcome to the show. Yes. Go ahead.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah. Greetings to the young man. We are very proud of him, and indeed, he is a testimony that we are headed to greatness. It's always said that great with wisdom, but sometimes, and I've confirmed today that great in Africa sometimes comes with great confusion. I will tear into the words of William Shakespeare that this young man is young in limbs, yet old in wits. We bless our ancestors for that. Before I ask my question, let me just observe this. He started by saying, or at the end of his speech was saying that we have leadership challenge in Africa. And the education system in our land, or in Africa, is Eurocentric. Yes, it is Eurocentric. We have most of our leaders across Africa today are graduates from either Yale University, either Cambridge University, or Harvard University. And these leaders are they're everywhere. Yet we have theft in our government system in Africa. We have looting in the governance system. Yet the universities that I mentioned are those universities that everybody longs to go. It therefore means that if graduates who are coming from there, who hold positions in Africa, cannot tame theft, cannot tame every confusion, and cannot develop a model, a governance model that can respond to the needs of Africa. Therefore, it means therefore that we need to redefine educational systems in our continent.
Correct.
Let me just observe again. In this very continent, referring to my country, we have different educational systems. Number one, we have, for example, pre-primary education, 844, for example. That is the regular educational system that anybody can go to. Then we have public schools. Now, those who take their kids to public schools are the poorest in our societies. Then we have private schools. The middle class take their children to private schools where they are taught to speak English. And when my kid speaks English, then I'm proud that my kid is doing progressively well. Then we have the British educational system. Then we have the German educational system. That is in Kenya. So in Kenya alone, we have 4 different education systems. What are we doing as a country? Why different education systems? We are talking of equality in education. Where is equality in this system, as we are saying?
Okay.
As we observe.
Okay.
Now the question is to the gentleman. I'm asking the question now. How do we organize ourselves to realize this African dream of organizing ourselves and Africanizing everything to our development?
Okay. Thank you very much. Osman, just note the questions because I'm going to be taking the questions. They're coming. We have more than 100 missed calls for that. So what I would advise is just take the questions and then later on, I open the line. We shut the line saying you can answer the questions. There's some that are going to be repeating themselves. And for you audience, please be patient. When you call, yes, we understand the analysis and recommendations are okay. If you have a question, please go directly to the question and keep it short because everybody wants to ask a question or say something. Okay, thank you very much. All right, I'm going to take the next question. Hello? Hello?
Hi.
Yes. Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, welcome to the show, sir. What's your contribution?
Thank you very much. I'm trying to ask the young man what is his aspiration for a united Africa?
Aspiration for a united Africa. Okay.
Yes.
Is that all?
Yes. I was hoping I would be having an interaction with him so that we can.
Yeah, he's going.
With the discussion.
He's going to answer. It's just that because the questions, there are a lot of questions, we want to take the questions all, and then he would start responding to them. Okay.
No, I was trying to also ask a question and then make a contribution.
All right. Okay, let's go over to it. Your aspiration for a united Africa, OUSMAN?
Yes.
Yeah, I know that.
All right, he has it. So your contribution now?
Yes, my contribution is Africa has a large population of a young large youthful population, and when we look at it, we have our rulers or the leaders in Africa are mostly elderly. So if we want to take the future of Africa, it's about time that the youth unite, and then we take our future into our hands. So with respect to that, there is a lot of challenges. We have a brain drain such that the young people, their aspiration always is to cross the ocean and go over to continents such as Europe and Asia when we have all the resources, all the ingredients needed to develop. When you look at it, we think the pasture is greener on the other side when it's actually better in Africa. So that's what I wanted to share with the forum.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Thank you for your call. And he's gonna stay connected because he's gonna answer your question. Okay. Thank you for your contribution. Yes, yeah. All right. Yep. Wow. I'm very sorry the calls. Like I said, please, if you call, just wait. Let's take the questions. I'm going to take all the calls. Okay. Hello. Oh my goodness. Hello.
Hi. Hi, Susan. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much for the good job you're doing for Mother Africa. Thank you so much. Hey, Brother OUSMAN, you are so amazing, brother. You are doing a good job to help Africa. But what we are, thank Susan, we need to get you have a WhatsApp group that all of us, we need to get in touch with how we can mobilize ourselves from here in the U.S., how all the youth in the U.S. here can mobilize ourselves, and then the ones in the UK that mobilize themselves. This is no more talking. We need to be serious on the ground, meeting like physically, have a chat, and then put something on the ground whereby we can do civic education across Africa. Every country in Africa,
brother,
have a civic education.
Brother, we have it. The number you're calling now has a WhatsApp group. We have more than 10 WhatsApp groups. So just indicate we're going to put you in, and even a Telegram group, we have it, okay? And exactly what you're saying is what we're doing now. We are all experts. He is an expert that is going to be included on the expert pool. And the expert pool, later on, we're going to come up with seminars and educational forums. His topic would be focused on his expertise, okay? We have them already going on. So just indicate we're going to put you in the group. Thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Brother OUSMAN. You are amazing, brother.
Thank you.
So much.
Thank you.
We are ready to help and thank you so much.
Thank you, brother. Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much.
Okay, we're going to take the next question. This is so crazy. They don't even wait for it. Hello? Hello? All right. We're going to take the next one. Hello. Hello.
Yes, my name is Ali Manja. I'm calling from Qatar, but I'm a Gambian.
Okay.
Yes, thank OUSMAN for his briefing ideas that he's holding here, and for his courage and his inspirational speech that is definitely inspiring for the people at his age. We are very much proud of him. I have a question, OUSMAN, when it comes to the education. It is widely recognized that teaching through foreign language constitutes the stumbling block for the advancement in our education system. So how can we overcome this in the presence of multiple languages in our localities?
I don't know if you got it because your line was breaking. What was the question again?
I was asking the issue of the education through foreign language. How can we overcome it in the presence of multiple language in our localities?
Okay. How can we overcome the multiple language and the education? Okay.
My question is, how can we overcome the presence of multiple languages in our localities in terms of adopting a single language instead of foreign language in our education system?
All right. Thank you very much. I'm sorry because your line was breaking. That's why we couldn't get you clearly, but it's okay. We got the question.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. We're going to take the next call. Hello? Hello? All right. While you're struggling to connect, please, I'm going to go up to the next call. Hello?
Hello?
Yes.
Hello, Sister Susan, and what a great man. I mean, Usman, I feel very happy, and because I believe there are a lot of people who are just trying to call. I'm just going to make it short. My name is Greg from Sudan.
Okay.
It is so powerful. I really like, the way he put it. And I just want to comment on something he was saying that, we keep talking about leaders and, other people who are coming and whatever, but we need to actually do something about it. And I just want to, add something. That is true. We always keep pointing fingers to others, like our leaders, like foreign powers, colonizers, who are coming, who are destroying us. But we are not doing anything. So let me tell you, no politician is going to treat you bad if we do not allow them. Nobody is going to be stealing our money if we do not allow them. No foreigner is going to be, treating us the way they are treating us now if we do not allow them. And let me tell you, I was in Sudan, I became a refugee in Ethiopia, I went to school there, I stayed there for 7 years, and I saw their, curriculum. I saw how they are teaching their history, how Ethiopia is growing, and one of the problems is that as he mentioned, disconnection. Now, not many people know about Ethiopian system. If we can only get rid of that disconnection, I believe that we can learn from each other so much that we are not going to be treated the way they are treated now, whether by our leaders or by anyone else. So I just want to say thank you, sister, for the program that you are doing. We really encourage you to continue doing more and more. But sometimes I used to feel that there are not too many people who are thinking like the way we are thinking, for example. But whenever I watch your program, it gives me hope, because I can see that there are a lot of African minds. For example, right now I'm in Canada, when I see a lot of Africans who came from Africa to Canada, they don't think about Africa. They don't think about what they are going to be doing after, 10 years or what they want to give to Africa. They are just, infused in the system, and they don't even know that they don't even know what they are doing. But when I watch, the guests that you are bringing, it gives me hope that, there are young and youth, there are, young generation who are ready and who are saying enough is enough. Now is the time for Africa to get its real independence. Now is the time for Africans to actually create our own education systems, to create our own economic systems, to create our everything of our own by Africans. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, brother. Thank you for that contribution. Yeah. We're going to take the next call. Hello? Hello? All right. Try again. Please, when you're calling, make sure that you're connected. Hello?
Good afternoon, Susan.
Hello, good afternoon.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm Barry from Spain, Barcelona.
Yes.
Okay, I'm saying my brother from the smiling coast of the Gambia. Thank you. I'm very glad to hear Mr. TOURAY.
Yes. All right.
I will speak in my local languages in the Gambia. First of all, to greet my brother in the Gambia.
Go ahead.
Yes, bro. My fine. How are you? Nakam? Yang si Jama.
I am a brother. Ibeje, go, Pantamtabati, OUSMAN.
Yeah, whenever.
Born in the Gambia, I read in the Gambia before coming back. I am very, very glad. So, OUSMAN, I have only one question for OUSMAN, Susan.
Yes.
Okay, what a key role can the African Union play to just drive us out of this situation? What a key role can the African Union play to drive us out of this? That's the question. I'm not going to take more time because there are many people on the line, so I'm very glad, OUSMAN. I wish you all the best.
Okay. Thank you very much. Jerejef.
Yeah, Jerejef, bro.
Okay. We're gonna take the next call. Yeah. Wow. Today's crazy. Of course. Hello. 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 All right. They're connected and they don't even remember again. Hello. All right. Hello.
Hi, Susan.
Hi. Good evening.
Hi, good evening, Susan. How are you?
Fine. Thank you.
Great. I am another Gambian brother, so I think you're going to have a field day of all the Gambians calling today.
I know.
OUSMAN, how are you?
Yeah, I'm okay. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Very inspirational young man. A lot of good things have been said on this platform. And I think it shows that there's hope in Africa. You know, when people talk about Africa, try to give us a sort of a negative image that Africa, it's all about poverty, it's all about deprivation, it's all about lack of education and that sort of thing. It is gratifying to see such a young man coming on your stage saying wonderful things about Africa and saying how Africans can do it within Africa, within the African context, and not going outside of Africa. And I think, you know, like anything, we can mobilize and bring our resources, our energy, our focus together as Africans. We can do it together.
Correct.
But I have one question for both yourself and OUSMAN, if you don't mind, please. You know, it's sentiments are very important. Yes, sentiments obviously do help. But I think what a lot of us find very frustrating, particularly Africans that are in the diaspora, is that when I say diaspora, I'm talking about, you know, let me put it this way, Africans living in the West, is that within our own continent, we sometimes see ourselves as second class. What I mean by that, for example, If today I'm an African and I go to, let's say, South Africa, there is a lot of, xenophobia in that country towards other Africans. And particularly in other parts of Africa, when you go there, you want to sort of fit in. You are seen, compared to a Westerner is more valuable. We even see it at our airports. When you be standing to join the queue to pass by, and an airport officer will look down on you, whereas a Westerner will be treated as some kind of a demigod. Now, this is the kind of mindset, as Africans, I find very worrying. And how do you and Usman see us getting out of these kind of trap that we find ourselves in?
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that all right?
Yeah, I know it.
That is why I think it's about the mentality. So that's the kind of thing I want to get into.
All right.
I'll leave it to that. I'm sure there is a lot of people.
Just so many. There are more than 400 calls coming in, and we can't even pick it.
And before I leave, I would like to greet Usman in my local language, if you don't mind.
Go ahead, Jerry.
Usman, naka def nak?
Maa ngi si jàmm bu baax.
Naka ngoon si.
Waaye ñu ngi nii toog rek xanaa tàngaay.
Well, we're so proud of you, and I look forward to when you're in Gambia, inshallah. I'll find out about it and get to see you someday.
Thank you, inshallah.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
All right then.
Thank you. Yeah, Jeff. Good evening too. Yes. All right. Oh my God. Usman, I have to take the calls, okay?
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, you just be noting it, please. Hello?
Yeah.
Hello? All right, that one is struggling to connect. Hello? Hello? You are connected, but you're not saying anything. Hello?
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, sir. Yes.
How are you?
I'm fine. I hope you too. Are you from the Gambia?
Yeah, of course, I'm from the Gambia.
Oh, of course. Jerry Jeff.
Anyway, I just have a contribution to make anyway.
Okay.
I think all these things that you guys are talking about, our leaders. Hello?
Yes, we're hearing. Go ahead.
I said I think all these things that you guys are talking about, our leaders are the key problem of it.
Okay.
Because they know everything that we have passed through, and still they are seeing us passing through it, but they are not playing any role to make changes.
Okay.
So in that case, I think it is high time for our leaders also to help us achieve that you guys are talking about.
Thank you. They're listening. This program is listened by all the leaders of Africa. They hear you.
Because without their support, I don't think we can achieve what we want to achieve. They are the people disturbing us. They are colliding with Westerns to humiliate Africans and African resources, which I think is very, very disgraceful.
Okay, brother. And one thing I want to guarantee you is that they cannot stop us from doing it. We are going to work together with them to achieve it. Okay, they're not stopping us. They can't stop us. Yes.
That is what we need. Our leaders are disturbing us, and they really need to wake up from asleep now, because it's high time.
Yes.
We all know the truth now. So the truth is exposed. I mean, it's exposing itself every day, gradually. So we need to wake up and do something about this as young Africans with the help of our leaders. So I thank you and Usman for the good job that you've done.
Thank you very much. All right. Thank you so very much, brother. Thank you. Yeah. I think that was not a question. It was hello? Hello? Okay, I think because most of them are calling from the continent, it takes a little bit of 1 second to reconnect, and you see them struggling to connect. Hello?
Hello, how are you? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Go ahead.
Thank you. My name is Mohammed. I just want to say I'm so proud of this man, first of all, as an African. I have a question for Usman, please.
Okay, go ahead.
So the question I have, man, we have many religious education in our continent. And how do we make sure that this them doesn't brainwash children and teach them the wrong thing? I really, in the interest of the Arab and other, religious things, and make sure that they only teach them the principles that
all right.
Other things they need to learn about.
I don't know. Your line was breaking. I didn't really get it. What was your question? Religion? The too much religions on the continent?
Now, in our education system, we have some particular education teaching religious belief.
Yeah.
It could be Islamic religion or Christianity or any other religions. Of these teachings, those seem to brainwash our children, making them, a slave instead of thinking for themselves.
Correct.
So how can we encourage our leaders to make sure we design educational systems that doesn't allow the children, to be brainwashed or to teach them the principle?
Okay. Thank you very much. I got the question. Osman, you got it right?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, bro. Thank you so very much. Yeah. All right. We're going to take the next one. Hello? Hello? It's a challenge. It's a challenge today. Honestly. Hello? Yes. Can you... Your volume. Turn on your volume, please. No, it's still very, very low. Yeah. Still very low, but just go ahead. Not clearly, but just go ahead. I can transmit your question to him. Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you very much, brother. I got your question. Osman, the question is there anything in stock for African markets like you have? They're talking about the free trade, but do you see Africa getting something like a stock exchange market? Thank you very much. The line is so poor. And yeah, we're going to go up to the next question. Hello? 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 You are, yes, you are connected. Hello?
Yeah. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah. My name is Casey. I'm calling from Germany.
All right, Casey, go ahead. How is your day? What's your question?
Yeah, good. Hope you guys are good too.
We are good.
Yeah. First, I want to say thank you to my brother Usman for the good job he is doing for Africa, for all Ukraine.
Thank you too.
Thank you so much.
Hello?
So,
go ahead, we're listening.
Okay. Yo, so Usman, my question is, how are you going to help bringing the youth, in educating the youth and bringing them together? That is my question for OUSMAN.
Okay.
My question for OUSMAN is, how is it going to help in bringing the youth, both those in diaspora and those at home, together? That is my question for OUSMAN.
Okay.
How are they going to do that?
All right. Is that all?
Yeah, that's all.
Thank you very much. He's going to answer your question. Stay tuned, okay? No, I'm going to take, I think, 1 or 2 or 3 questions again, and then we give him the floor to answer these ones, please, because we can't take all the questions today.
Hello?
Hello?
Hi, Susan. How are you?
I'm good.
This is Chiro calling from Boston.
Okay. Go ahead.
I just want to say, OUSMAN, you've done a great job. Your analysis is really accurate, very, very spot on. And you have a mastery of the subject, and your strategy towards addressing the problem, it's very, very relevant for the 21st century. I wish the government of Malawi and the African government would you.
Oh my God. I'm sorry. His line. Chiro, please try to call again. I will take your call. A direct call, just switch in. Hello?
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 Oh my God. There's just some confusion going out there. Please, Chiro, call again. A direct call came and swap you out. I'm taking the last question and giving him the floor before. Please post your questions. We can do this today. Hello? Yeah.
This is Fatu from the Gambia.
Yeah, Fatu, welcome. Fatu, we've been trying to pick your call and it was not going through. Go ahead.
Yeah, Fatu, how are you?
Hello? All right. I think we would have to give OUSMAN the floor to start responding to the other issues. Why you connect or you send in your question per chat, please. Hello?
Yeah, this is Joseph calling.
Okay.
Yeah, so my contribution is just to affirm, like, I want to confirm to the young generation and the spirit of Ubuntu that we are many with the same spirit.
Okay.
And what we have to do right now is find each other and join hands, because I believe what OUSMAN is saying from Gambia is the same thing we are saying from Kenya, and is the same thing being said by other Pan-African from another country. And it has reached a time where we have to join hands and find ourselves, because we are scattered all over the planet. So our main job now is to find ourselves and stand strong and be the lamp to the rest of the continent and demolish the boundaries that we have, like the colonial boundaries, and we shall stand as one thing, as one country, and we shall fight for one passport, one currency. And I have a request for the Africans who are in the diaspora. Hello?
Yes, we're listening.
Yeah, so for the Africans who are living in the diaspora, I have a request that they can be the ambassadors and they can live in unity and try their best wherever they meet. They make communities and they make Ubuntu communities, and they should be our ambassadors wherever they are, and let us see the picture of one Africa from the diaspora. They meet people from different countries, and if these people are able to put down their passports and stand up and up for one passport and treat themselves like brothers and sisters in the diaspora, then this spirit will come home and everyone in the continent will embrace each other, and we shall demand for one passport, one currency, and one country, one voice.
Okay. Thank you very much for your contribution. Yeah. Thank you so very much. Okay, I think we're going to stop taking the calls and give our honorable guest of today the floor. It is his show, okay? It is the show of OUSMAN. You can't just come and even steal his show and making your contribution. Say your contribution per WhatsApp, per WhatsApp. All right, over to you, OUSMAN. There's been a lot, and they're still coming in. And honestly, we can't take more than 1,000 calls today. So let's just start with the questions that you noted. And I know most of the questions that are coming in are also entangled to these questions. Over to you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Susan. And thank you to our callers. This is just amazing. And I am so glad that, we are connecting. And that is what we need as a continent, making sure that both the individuals living in the diaspora and those living in Africa are connected in different platforms where we can exchange our ideas in this manner. So a lot of things are going to change, and many individuals will automatically get motivated by some of these comments and some of their contributions, of course, and we can set a pattern together as African youth. So one of the individuals says, how do we organize ourselves to realize our dreams or to realize the African dream? I think the first way in organizing ourselves is making sure that we get rid of the disconnection that the issues happening in Kenya, I will feel the same thing, as an individual living in the Gambia. Once we can exchange to one another, when we can meet each other, and then we can communicate to one another, and then we can tailor our development agendas in a way that every country's interest is going to reflect in it within the African continent, then therefore we can realize the dream that we all desire. And that includes the youths coming together as well, because they are the actual.
Wait, I'll pick your call later. Okay, Fatu?
Yeah, sure.
Yes, just hold on.
Because the youths are the individuals that really matters in this situation. So another individual as my inspiration for a united Africa.